So with the idea that I want to make a series of kind of explanatory videos, really for the intent of my young son Aspen, who's now only 3, maybe on the verge of being an age where I can start teaching him chess. But I thought the other day that I'm not getting any younger, and it would be really cool to leave a bunch of videos behind that might be a way of me sharing years and years of chess experience with him. So I'm gonna purposely pick like a long time control game, and we'll kick it off. Openings in chess are really kind of just to taste, if you will. When you can. So he didn't make the black didn't really make kind of a really strong stake in the center, so we're going to instead, and that's kind of the idea. One of the premises in chess is to try to get kind of central control. And then after that, it's let's get some pieces out into the fight. And even the knight is developing towards the center. There's no real mistakes I've seen so far. So we're just going to focus on getting our... So this is a weird move. Okay, I've never seen this kind of move before. It's odd that because it blocks this pawn. And it's going to make it harder for the light squared bishop to get out. So immediately things like, you can't jump to like, ooh, let's attack it. Because then whenever the bishop moves, you kind of helped out the opposing player. So let's just continue with developing. Again, this knight's coming out with central control and black. So now I'm thinking I must not be playing a very strong player because I'm just going to continue. He's not making any claims, or black isn't making any claims. I shouldn't say he, it could be a she. There's no real threats and stuff. What I'm looking for now, honestly, is mistakes like, okay, so now we're finally dealing with a pin, right? And I'm not really concerned about pins like this. I just want to follow my plan of developing because I have no problem with the dark squared bishop going away. And the reason for that, right, because I could have stopped the pin or something like that. The reason for that, especially when you're playing new players, okay, so this is now I have to defend it, right? It's attacked twice and defended once, so I had to pull my bishop back to defend it. I guess I could have done another thing. I could have castled and stuff like that, but we'll see what happens. I kind of want the bishop to take this, and so I might actually there we go. Okay, so cool. So now the queen has to move again, which is always a good idea in chess, is try to make your opponent keep moving the same pieces over and over again. But I want you to notice with how how the white squares, or rather the dark squares on this side of the board are kind of just open, right? Which means that my dark squared bishop is just going to own, if that makes sense, right? So we want to start to open things up eventually, like a plan like this or whatever. But right now, we're just going to finish our development in castle. But I want to show, that these lines here, if I was a betting man, would become a problem for black in the near future. Yeah, let's just expand. I like the idea of just expanding. And if he goes to attack my dark square bishop, we know that we're going to have to retreat because there's no way. Okay, well, we're done talking about that because he chose a different move. I'm thinking that man, he doesn't want to let me open that. Maybe if we move the bishop so we can start letting other pawns go. So let's do that. So we can. Our bishop's still controlling dark squares, but what I want to do is maybe get these pawns. The c pawn can help out. So we'll see. That's an interesting move. So what this did now was I was looking here in this position. One of the things after I made this move was, what if he moves his knight back here? I might take, and then I was like, no, because my dark square bishop's too important. But after this move, notice that the knight can't move there anymore. And the knight can't move here because this pawn. And the knight is trapped. So let's attack it. I think the best thing for black to do would be to move it back here, so it forced me to kind of mess up my cool pawn chain. But I mean, other than that, or take this. You could do that. If he takes the pawn, we'll take it with our knight. So we'll just pre-move that. No? I mean, okay, I see. Okay, this is okay. So if I take and the pawn recaptures, my knight has to move, and that's probably as far as this guy's looked forward. And what's going to happen is I'm just going to move my knight here. So he's now has kind of a dangerous opening or an open file here, and he was probably looking at stuff like this. Yeah, so this is obviously an attempt to try to get this out of the way, but this also weakens the light squares now. So we'll just give him a quick check just to see what happens. I think he's only got 2 moves, right? If he wants to maintain his plan for the queen, he'll move here. So here, and now my dark square bishop comes into play. And then, honestly, if he moves down, my dark squared bishop comes into play. So let's do that. Okay, so he chose the other, which I figured first. And now there's literally no, well, I'll take it back. He can move here, and then this is checkmate, right? Check, because the bishops, and the knight would cover this escape square. So the only option here, aside from mate in 1, is for him to block this check somehow, either here or here. And either way, the dark squared bishop is just going to take that, whatever he blocks it with. He's just going to take. So take and check, and here, take and check. And then the only thing left to do to get out of mate here is for the queen to take this bishop, which is just a sad moment in history. Because who wants to give up their, let's just do that. Maybe he sees the mate threat over there. And I will say that giving up your queen to avoid mate, I mean, it's better than mate. Because remember checkmate. So that's it. But if I finish that idea, it's if you have to give up an important piece or a piece to avoid checkmate, then that's what you do. Because while the queen is obviously the most powerful and it's not desired, and you'll probably still lose the game. But remember that the king is the most important. And that'll be the end of this